continue working on our good friend, compare and contrast paragraphs. Now, in a few moments after our first activity, we are going to review very briefly what we went over about the structure of compare and contrast paragraphs, and we'll see some of the words that we use with compare and contrast paragraphs. But first, I would just like to get everybody's brains working, the creative juices flowing a little bit. So I'm going to give you a piece of paper, and on this, you see there's a box on the top. I would like you to use this top box to free write about or to brainstorm about 3 or 4 things that you like to do in your free time. 3 or 4 things. So what are you going to be writing about?
Things we like to do in our free time.
Things you like to do in your free time, your spare time. How many of them?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. And is this a paragraph? Did I ask you to write a paragraph?
Yes, just free write.
Yeah, free write or just brainstorm. So I'm not going to check the grammar or the punctuation on this one. This is just to get you thinking about it. So I'll give this out, and I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes to work on this.
Teacher, should we write on the bottom also?
No, first, thank you, good question. First, do not write on the bottom, just write on the top. We're going to use the bottom for a later activity.
What's the later activity going to be?
I'll tell you that in just a few moments, but if you're creative, we're going to be doing a compare and contrast paragraph. You need something to compare or contrast, right? So just take 3 or 4 minutes. Feel free to add a little bit of detail and not just list the items. You can add a little more detail. If it's watching TV, what do you like to watch? If it's surfing the internet, what do you like to see? Take about 30 more seconds to finish up.
Also the Four Seasons, I just saw the movie.
Okay. If everyone will wrap up.
Frankie Valli.
So was everyone able to think of 3 or 4 things that you would like to do with your free time? Okay, very good. Now I'm going to move you into pairs. Now before we move, I'm going to tell you what we'll do. Once you're in pairs, you are actually going to interview your partner to find out what they like to do within their free time. And having given you this sheet of paper, where are you going to write the information you get from your partner?
In the notes.
That's right, in the notes. Now, I'll warn you, you're actually going to use this to write your compare and contrast paragraph. So make sure to get enough information to actually write your paragraph. All right? So tell me one more time, what are you going to be asking your partner?
What they like to do in their free time.
What they like to do in their free time. Very good. So, we just lost somebody. So if Lauren and Kelly would please pair up, and Elizabeth, if you wouldn't mind pairing up with a BK, and if Carlene and Perpetual would please pair up.
Oh, no, it is. I'm a daughter.
Okay, so did everyone successfully get 3 or 4 points that you can use for compare or contrast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, from their partner. Very good. Well, I said that we were going to review the structure of this type of paragraph. So, if you'll remember in class last time, this is the chart that you actually created for me from the models that we looked at. There are 2 ways that you can write.
Could you erase the 3 or 4 things?
Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for reminding me. I would lose my head if it wasn't attached to my shoulders sometimes. So this is the chart that you actually created, and we saw there are 2 main ways that you can create a compare and contrast, or a contrast paragraph, or a mixture. One of them goes what we call detail by detail. So you'll look at one thing that is similar between the 2, then you'll see the first subject and how that does it, and the second subject, and you'll just go through detail by detail. The other method is to look at one subject. For example, if the young ladies over here are writing their compare and contrast paragraph, the first one would be Lauren and what Lauren enjoys doing, and the second one might be Kelly and what Kelly enjoys doing. And of course, each paragraph starts with a main idea and a conclusion. It finishes with a conclusion. Now, let me ask you, for what you have gotten, do you feel like you're going to be writing more of a comparison paragraph? Which means, in the way we looked at it, more similarities? A contrast paragraph, or are you going to have a little bit of both? A little bit of both.
Contrast.
Yeah.
So which do you feel like you're going to be more comfortable using as you write this paragraph?
I don't
Subject.
understand the difference between detail and subject.
Oh, good question. So the subject is going to be, for example, here, the subject would either be, subject 1 would be Lauren. Subject 2 would be Kelly. I doubt I spelled your name right.
No extra E.
Okay, so Kelly. So all the way through, subject 1 would be Lauren, subject 2 would be Kelly. So in this case, it would be maybe both of you like music, but you like listening to different types of music. Or maybe you like to do outdoor activities and Kelly likes to do indoor activities. So you would go by the type of activity you do, and then you would discuss what each individual does. Over here, subject 1 would still be Lauren, but you would only talk about what Lauren likes to do. And then afterwards would be Kelly, and you would only talk about what Kelly likes to do. And then you'd sort of bring it together with a conclusion. Are there any more questions about that from today or last time we met? And what types of words can we use? Does anyone remember any words for making a contrast?
However,
However is a great word for contrasts. Can anyone give me another one?
on the other hand,
On the other hand, that's a great phrase. Good, good. Another?
Whereas.
Whereas. I do like whereas. I personally feel a little snooty as I write whereas in my paragraph.
And while.
And while.
While.
Yes, while is a wonderful one.
Although.
Although, yes. So let's now switch to the other side. What about if you're talking about how two things are similar? Can you think of any of those words that we covered?
Like.
Like? Yes, very good.
as,
As, yes.
similar to,
Similar to. Perfect. We actually have, just to help you remember, a few words up here. So for a contrast, somebody said however, in contrast, although, unlike, while, nevertheless, and we had a few others, whereas and as such. Whereas here we do have a comparison, similarly, likewise, like, in like manner, also, both. So these are all phrases or words that you can use in writing a paragraph. Well, that leads us to the next step of our activity. We're going to write a paragraph. I would like you to take a few minutes. Let's aim for, what's the time, teacher?
sorry, 15.
We're at 15 now? Okay. Well,
Teacher, could you show us how to do one? Could you just tell us how to do one so that we have a better idea?
yes. So, if, of course, ideally in the background, they've done a paragraph before. So, maybe for the main idea over here, or let's say over here, I'm going to say that Daniel and Lauren both enjoy spending their free time doing fairly different things, or fairly similar things. For example, Daniel loves to go movies with his free time. But if he can't go to a movie, he likes to go, he likes to watch TV at home. He really enjoys watching MasterChef. If he's choosing not to watch MasterChef, however, he might sometimes just curl up with a good book. Whereas Lauren really enjoys to do activities with her free time. She may like to go to museums, or she may like to travel and sightsee, or she may also like to exercise in her free time. So as we can see, Daniel and Lauren like to spend their free time in different ways. However, it should be noted that they're not completely different, because both Lauren and Daniel do like to read books in their free time, read biographies. So a subject by subject would go through each individual detail, and then come to for each subject to come to a conclusion. Does that clarify for you?
Yes.
Well, now, moving into the rest of the class, after the break, we'll actually begin that paragraph. And once we've written the paragraph, you're going to stay in your pairs, and we're going to peer edit each other's